The Ricoh GR2 is one of the best street photography cameras you can buy in 2023. People like to say that the best camera is the one you always have with you, so why not make sure the one you always have with you is amazing? In 2022, I really don't understand why more people don't buy second-hand, older digital cameras. You can pick up pretty much any camera from the past 10 years and get more than good enough image quality. The Ricoh GR series are professional, compact cameras designed for street photography. In 2013, Ricoh relaunched the GR with a new APS-C sized sensor crammed into a camera small enough to fit in your pocket. These days, there's a lot of hype around the GR3 and GR3X, and deservedly so, they are great cameras. But I think people overlook the previous GRs just because they're older, and that's a mistake. The Ricoh GR and GR2 are more or less the same camera, and despite their age, they're still fantastic cameras today. They share the same 60 megapixel APS-C sized sensor, which is still more than enough resolution for most of us today who share our photos online and rarely print larger than 8x10. Whilst everyone is rushing out to buy the GR3, you can find some amazing deals on the GR and GR2. I got mine for a third of the price of a new GR3, and it was in mint condition. I really don't feel the limits of this camera at all. The sensor is still fantastic, and I never found myself wishing that I had IBIS, plus you get a built-in flash, which I think is a good trade-off. This sensor has what I think is the best implementation of Ricoh's positive film simulation, a film simulation which I think gives the best colours of any digital camera ever made. With almost any other camera I use, film or digital, I usually shoot black and white, but the Ricoh GR2 makes me want to shoot colour. Ricoh really nailed the look you can get straight out of the camera shooting JPEG, and I think it's even better than anything that Fujifilm have done. The Ricoh GR's size speaks for itself. It's absolutely tiny, whilst managing to fit in an APS-C sized sensor. When shooting it on the street, people are usually way more at ease because it looks like a kind of crappy compact camera that a tourist might use, not a serious professional camera. This makes it easy to get shots that you might otherwise not, and to just generally be more unobtrusive in a scene. One of the best features of this camera is snap focus. The GR2 does have worse autofocus than modern cameras, but it doesn't matter at all, because I almost never use it. I shoot the GR2 almost exactly the same way as I shoot my Leica M2, which is what really made me love the camera in the first place. Now you might be thinking I'm insane for comparing a tiny compact camera with no viewfinder to a Leica M rangefinder, but one thing they have in common is the ability to use zone focus. Snap focus on the GR allows you to set the focus to a predetermined distance, like 2 meters. You can stop down on the lens and it will show you a distance scale that tells you how much of the image will be in focus. When you press the shutter button, the camera doesn't need to compute anything, it just snaps the focus to 2 meters. This is exactly the same way that I shoot my M2, pre-focusing, stopping down to f11 and shooting one-handed. Even the fastest autofocus in the world is still slower than not needing to focus at all. The Ricoh GR2 is a camera that I really didn't expect to like. It's a digital compact camera with a fixed 28mm lens and no viewfinder. Coming from Fuji cameras and the Leica M2, I really couldn't see it fitting my shooting style at all. After getting the camera in hand, I quickly realised just how wrong I was. Since buying the GR2, it's rapidly become one of my all-time favourites. I've used a lot of different cameras, and I'm hard pressed to think of any that I enjoy more than the GR2. It's one of the cheapest cameras I've ever bought, and I've taken some of my favourite images with it, and it's encouraged me to take an entirely different approach to photography. If you're someone who's considering a GR3, or even wishing that cameras like the Fujifilm X100V would come back in stock, then I strongly recommend taking a look at the GR2. Even if you think it isn't the camera for you, you might just find yourself surprised.